I've got this poster hanging on my wall, and it's an ad for the original Alien movie. I have been waiting what feels like 1,000 years for a movie to come out that is of its equal in terms of all the messages it's trying to tell and the tone. So, does Alien Romulus do that?
Are you sure you want to do this?
It's probably worth mentioning that Alien Romulus is number 7 in a long train of arguable train wrecks. There are 7 movies in the Alien franchise, but you'll be forgiven if you think there are just 2. That's what I've edited my head to say as well. After Alien and the sequel Aliens, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't make a decent one since then. Until now. I guess what we all want to know is, does Alien Romulus redeem the franchise, or is it another also ran in the annals of history and disappointed Alien fans? Director Alvarez is no stranger to horror, but what about sci-fi? Alien is a long cry from Don't Breathe, and that's okay as it turns out. So what did audiences expect from this? I think if you ask any Alien fan, same as any Star Wars fan, you're going to get slightly different things. But for me, it's a return to what made Alien and Aliens brilliant. I saw this post on Reddit, and I don't think it's understood the brief entirely. I mean, sure, The Force Awakens was a pretty good Star Wars movie, and it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't that it copied A New Hope beat for beat that made it a really good Star Wars movie. What made it a good Star Wars movie is it reminded us of what Star Wars was before Han shot second. The Force Awakens was a return to form because it lacked a lot of the bullshit that Lucas had put in when he got high on his own supply. I don't think there's too many people who saw the original trilogy, starting with A New Hope, who then turned up to the prequel trilogies and went, fucking A, that's what I'm turning up for. But I do know a lot of people who watched The Force Awakens and said, actually, that's not bad. We've got all the things we want. Scrappy underdog, check. Evil Empire, check. Man, the Millennium Falcon even gets a dusting off. Double check. And so, yeah, those things were true. But with Alien Romulus, we've got something a little bit different. I think the Alien series has had its fair share of missteps. If we start with the first movie, Alien, gets a great score on IMDb. Aliens, great score on IMDb. Alien 3, oh, hang on. Numbers are going down here. Alien 4, what the fuck? Alien 5, Prometheus. Alien 6, Covenant. Not many audience members giving this one a 10 out of 10. When we come back to Alien Romulus, this is scoring much higher. Audiences do like this, and it's probably more than it riffing on what made Alien successful from a plot point of view, because Romulus remembers the things that Alien didn't say that made it successful. If we look at Alien and Aliens as a duo of movies and forget that the others existed at all, what we see is a movie that's set in space. Absolutely. We know that bit. It's got a alien. That's right there in the title. But what's not explicitly spelled out for audiences, or maybe is more explicitly spelled out in the second one, is that the monster is not actually the xenomorph. The monster is us. And that's a theme that Alvarez brings forward into Alien Romulus. It's not just a movie about monster closets and people getting face hugged and chests bursting and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, that shit happens and it's good time, but it's not just a movie about jump scares. It's something a bit deeper and talking about everything that we know is wrong with society, or we're predicting was going to become wrong with society, with late-stage capitalism, military-industrial complex, and corporations grinding us into the fucking earth. It's one of the reasons why, if you look at Alien on IMDb, it actually gets a cyberpunk tag. It's not because it's got neon lighting, it's because it understands that the evil is actually within us, and it's how we work together that'll get us out alive. Weyland-Yutani make a fine return to form in this. Cailee Spaeny's reign is brilliant, showing us vulnerability and strength in equal measure as she goes throughout her character arc. It's very much a callback to earlier movies, especially Aliens, where we see the hard as nails Ripley going almost through a reverse one of these when she meets the lost child in Aliens. And that's an opportunity to show a little bit of vulnerability, and we actually get that at the start of this movie and flip the bit and become stronger as we go on. This overwhelming cyberpunk or dystopian or late-stage capitalism focus is one of the things that is so horrific about Alien. and Aliens, and Alien Romulus. Let's forget about the other ones. In terms of those three movies, we've got a story where people are doing the things they have to do, not because they want to. I mean, I don't think Ripley was going, you know what I really want to do? I want to sleep in a coffin for 7 years and go between the stars. She was doing that because she needed to get paid. And in Aliens, we see that come out in full force when she can't get a job doing anything because nobody wants to hire her. In Alien Romulus, this is reprised. We get a very hard squeeze on the mining colony that Rain starts out in, and it doesn't really get any better from there. Everything is bad, difficult, and hard for our plucky heroes, and that's where the movie kicks off. This origin story that shows that people have to do things to get out of where they are, and then the monsters arrive. We've touched a little bit on Cailee Spaeny's Rain and how brilliant she is as an actress, but I think the hidden talent inside this movie is David Jonsson's Andy. Now, Andy is a bit of an android. There's always going to be one in these movies, and he's a different android to Ian Holm's android in the first Alien, and that's fine. There's an arc that he goes on inside this movie where he becomes stronger and more powerful and then cedes that power to become weak again because it's actually what's needed for the story. It shows a really humanizing side of the android. We get to see a little bit of that when we watch Aliens. The android in that is not too bad. I think he pulls one out for the team, but a long cry from the android in the original Alien. I think who we really want to pine for in terms of characters, though, is Archie Renault's Tyler. We know this guy is going to die. It's written all over every trapping that the plot has. We just don't know how and when, and when it happens, it's brilliant. We feel it. We feel it through Rain. We feel it through everybody in the cinema with us because it was a good death, but a bad death at the same time. Okay, so Alvarez has brought a tremendous cast together. What about the rest of the movie? I think what's kind of different about this, where it deviates most strongly from Alien and Aliens, is that it starts off as a teen slasher flick. This is not space haulers, hardened criminals, Marines, nothing like that. This is a group of kids who are trying to find a way out, and you can imagine them all hanging out together, hitting the bong, having a few beers, that kind of stuff on a Saturday night, assuming they get any time off work from the 85-hour work weeks of Weyland-Yutani. And it goes on from there. We know that it's going to end in tragedy because these people are full of idealism, and that's the most dangerous thing that's going to kill them in space. Spoilers, it absolutely does. In terms of its style and tone, it's pure Alien, it's pure cyberpunk, it's all of those kinds of things. But in terms of its return to form, I think arguably it's closest to Prey. Now, Prey was a movie that hit me from just left field. I didn't know how good it was going to be. I absolutely loved it because it understood the assignment. And I think that's the commonality between Alien Romulus, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and Prey. They all understood what made those franchises super successful and are doing their level best to deliver that to audiences. They're not trying to copy what happened before. They're not trying to do anything other than pay homage and channel what brought audiences to the theaters and made those movies so charming in the first place. Probably the best analogy I can bring to this is Blade Runner 2049. Now, when that thing came out, that was amazing. I thought that was a brilliant movie, but what it really did well was it understood exactly what made Blade Runner better and then built on it. And I think that's what Alvarez has done with Alien Romulus. He's understood everything that makes Alien and Aliens really good movies. He's understood what audiences want from them. He's understood the horror of the creature and the body horror and the monster closets. He's got all of that down, but he's also got down the human component that brought those crews together. In Alien, they were all trying to help each other out. In Aliens, the Marines were fighting alongside each other. And in Alien Romulus, our group of plucky kids are just trying to get by, find a new place to live together. So I think that brings us back to the point we started with. Is Alien Romulus a direct carbon copy of Alien, or is it something better? And I'd argue it's something better. It's learned from a lot of different movies over the time. It's understood what made Star Wars The Force Awakens such a good movie. It's understood what Blade Runner did to bring audiences back into the theater for that franchise. And most importantly, it understood what we loved so much about the first Alien and Aliens movies. I think Alvarez has delivered on his vision. It's not just that in space nobody can hear you scream, it's that nobody can fucking hear you at all. And that is a great place for this movie to leave us. I don't know. What do you think? Did you enjoy Alien Romulus? I'm not saying it's a second coming of Christ. It's certainly got some flaws, but it's a pretty good movie. Let me know down in the comments below what you liked about it, what you didn't like, and if you enjoyed this movie, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you.
Please hang up and try again.